Town. Speaking about Cape Town, if you try and fly from Cape Town to Johannesburg or in the other direction, you'll find yourself probably sitting on a packed aircraft if you can get on an aircraft at all. All that's going to change, of course, because there will be new entrants to the market. And on that note, listen to this. FastJet, Africa's low-cost airline, today announces the signing of an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with local South African investment company Blockbuster, with the objective of FastJet operating services in South Africa by the end of next month. In the Joburg studio is Richard Bowden, the Chief Commercial Officer at FastJet. Richard, thanks very much for joining us. First of all, the history of FastJet.
FastJet has been trading in Africa since last year. We have operations principally in Tanzania, but we also have small airlines under the name of Fly 540 in Ghana, Angola and Kenya.
It's a growing market, of course, and South Africa is a market that is underserviced, in my opinion. So you must have looked very jealously at the Cape Town-Johannesburg route. Is that the one that you're going to focus on first up?
That's our first route. We will be operating it at the end of May. Tickets will go on sale before probably the second week of May, and we'll look to use that as our initial route, but then grow across South Africa, offering both domestic and hopefully international routes.
What sort of aircraft are you using? What sort of prices are you going to be charging? What sort of service are you going to be offering?
Well, we're a low-cost airline, so we wouldn't expect to charge our passengers for things they're not going to use, so executive clubs and lunches they don't want, and so on and so on. So we're following the sort of more traditional European low-cost model that's been so successful around the world. We'll be operating, we've got a fleet of Airbus 319s, so we're currently looking at how we're going to fleet our operation here in South Africa, and we'll grow our routes, as I said, domestically and hopefully internationally.
Tell us about Blockbuster as well. This is a company that I'm unfamiliar with. How did you come across them? Have they just been put on a shelf, taken off a shelf in order to facilitate your operations? What's the story?
Yeah, we needed to work with a South African partner, and we therefore have 25% of the business that we've created, and we've got 3 or 4 significant, prominent business people here in South Africa. One of which is connected to one of the people running the country.
Yes, indeed. I saw that. Can you tell us more?
He's just simply a shareholder in the business, so Edward Zuma is going to be one of our shareholders.
There's a graveyard out there, Richard, that is full of airlines that have failed in South Africa. There's a Sun Air, which is the one I particularly like, because you used to be able to get a massage at the back, and there was also some nice leather seats, and it was a sort of supposedly all-business airline, but that went to ground. We've had Nationwide going as well. Is there any suggestion that you're going to be any different?
Well, at the very beginning, we've stated very clearly that we wanted to operate to international standards of safety, security, reliability, and so on. And I think our customers in Tanzania would stand shoulder to shoulder with us to say that we've achieved that in that country. We will not deviate from safety. That's our primary concern. And we'll fly to international standards. There have been many failures. Sorry, there have been many failures.
Just on the servicing side, Richard, who's going to be servicing your aircraft? Have you got an agreement with SAA? What's the story there?
If we're going to lease our aircraft in the country, then the leasing company will provide the engineering services. If we're going to use our Airbus 319s, we'll use one of the companies available, and certainly SAA is one of the companies we're speaking to.
This is just the start, of course. Cape Town, Joburg, Cape Town is a very lucrative route, but I think some people will say, well, in order to give everyone a full service, you've got to do the Durban route and maybe some other smaller hubs as well. But will you be using this as a base for Africa to Africa travel as well?
Yeah, FastJet was always going to be a pan-African low-cost airline. So our intention over the next few years is to grow hubs dotted around Africa, and we certainly see Johannesburg as being one of the strongest hubs of that network. So we'll certainly not restrict ourselves to flying the so-called Golden Triangle. We'll certainly be flying internationally and linking some of our other bases around the continent.
What's the state of the airline industry, not just in South Africa, that's quite well developed, but in the rest of Africa? Is there enormous potential? Because you mentioned immediately safety, and I've heard some horror stories about people that I regularly speak to who travel within Africa about certain airlines. I mean, even landing at the wrong airport, all sorts of nasty things, which are quite funny in a way, but actually quite disturbing in another. Is there a massive market out there over the next couple of decades, for example?
Look, I think everybody would recognise that the opportunities in Africa are immense, and this is the last frontier, if you will, of the low-cost airline. And we've made no bones about the fact that we intend to be driving that market forward. And that's not just commercially, but that's also with safety standards and training and support and so on. But the opportunities here in Africa are immense, and we see FastJet as being a great success in the continent.
Will you have links up with international airlines, for example, the big carriers that are coming into Johannesburg and Cape Town, and you'll then take those passengers and fly them to another destination? Have you got that agreement in place yet?
Yeah, we've had a couple of conversations with significant players. We announced some time ago that we were speaking to Emirates, who are looking for companies that can help them move their passengers throughout the region. So they would fly into a large hub, and we would then look after those passengers and fly them to the smaller airfields dotted around the country. And that's something that we're just still pursuing with Emirates. We certainly won't be flying outside of Africa, so the larger operators will fly into the large hubs, as I say, and we would look to move them on.
How do we follow your progress? Have you got a website? When are you going to start selling tickets?
We have a very, very successful website, and we've truly embraced social media. I believe we're the second most liked airline in Africa on Facebook, if you follow these things, and that's not bad in less than 6 months operation. So by all means, look at what we're doing on Facebook, look at our website, but we'll be making a lot of announcements over the next couple of weeks as we move towards launch. As I say, our tickets will go on sale probably second week in May.